Welcome, everybody, to Me Powered with Rhonda, and happy International Women's Day to all my beautiful sisters and goddesses and badasses across the entire country. Today, we are joined with my good friend Fiona. She's getting herself situated over there. She is joining us live from London. Fiona, say, we'll be back in a second to get her on. Before we get started, I would like for you to tell you guys how you can tune in, because this show is growing, guys. We're on every single platform you can think of. So Lady J, let them know how they can tune in.
All right. If this is your first time tuning into the show or to JQLM Radio, and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Streama, Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, and a host of other platforms, of which you can find on our website, where you can also listen live at egoentertainmentnet.com. Be sure to follow us on social media. We do follow back. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio or EgoEntNet for Ego Entertainment Network. That's EgoEntNet. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ego TV Network, youtube.com/Ego TV Network.
All right. And to follow me, you can follow me on all of my platforms as well. Facebook, LinkedIn, there we go. At Rhonda L. Thompson, or Me Powered, Me.Powered, or MePowered.co is the new website that's coming, and we will be up with that shortly. So now we are ready to get going with the show. So I would love to welcome my very good friend, Fiona Small, and she is joining us live from London, UK. How are you, Fiona?
Hey, Rhonda, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. You look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
Happy International Women's Day.
And same to you. Happy International Women's Day to you too.
Thank you so much. Now, before we get started, we have a funny little story, okay? I was supposed to be in London this weekend. However, I was sick all week. I got COVID and I'm finally better, but everything worked out the way that it was supposed to, and I didn't want to risk it. Well, I couldn't travel anyway. So, but that's okay, because that just means that at another time we'll get to go to London's. But you are live in London right now, and you are 5 hours ahead of us, right? So what time is it there right now?
So it is precisely 11:05 p.m.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sacrificing. I know this is, you said, what, your third production today. You are definitely in demand, and I just thank you for being here today. And if it wasn't for you, last year, you're the one that told me about International Women's Day, because we had our very first summit, and it was wonderful. We had a total of 7 of us from all different countries on at the same time, and that was a partnership between you and I that we pulled that off. So thank you for that.
That's okay. It was amazing. When you think about all of the, I'm sure we had a lady from Dubai,
Mhm.
Australia.
Mhm.
We had, where was the other lady from again?
Uganda. Edlin was from
Uganda.
Uganda. Sophie was from Australia. Ilona was from, uh, well, Russia slash Georgia Republic.
Yeah.
Bella, she was from Texas. You were from London, and Sarik was, yeah, she was from Dubai, and I believe that was everybody. Yeah, so it was fantastic. It was just incredible.
Definitely. And we certainly repped international, didn't we?
Yes, we sure did. We sure did. We're still rapping international tonight. We got London and we got US, so we're still doing the international thing today. Um,
Absolutely.
I actually had a interesting comment. I just looked at my posts, and somebody and I responded to it politely, but I just want to start it off with this because this kind of shook me a little bit. Okay,
Go ahead.
so all right. So what they said, because I did a post, because now this year's theme. Before we get into that, this year's theme for International Women's Day is break the bias. And
Yeah.
everybody is doing posts today with their hands crossed to
Mhm.
like break the bias. So I did one and I did a post and I had women behind me and stuff like that. I was pitching in, doing my thing, getting all participating and everything. Very happy, very proud. And, I wrote a little blurb about how, women were still fighting for gender equality. We're not paid as much as men, even though our talents and our gifts and our work ethic is equal in a lot of cases and sometimes surpassed, but we're just not recognized in the workplace that way. Well, I had a comment, and I'm not saying this in a negative way because I'm acknowledging it. That came that said, more men are killed in war than women. More men are in prison than women. How equal do we want to be? I was like,
Wow.
okay, but I responded politically correct, and I was like,
Yep.
okay, those are great topics of discussion. I always
Mhm.
honor our men and our kings, but tonight we're focusing on the theme of International Women's Day. So
That's it.
just wanted that person to know that I did see your comment and I appreciate your comment. And that is a topic for another day, but this is Women's History Month. And today specifically is International Women's Day. So that's what we're going to talk about and we're going to celebrate. And so that's why we're here.
Absolutely. And it's about honoring women. And I would say to that comment, for whoever had sent you that, just do some research on where International Women's Day actually came from
Yeah.
and originated from, and look at some of the stats, because the stats are there and they don't lie.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, April is on. She said she finally caught up with me. Fantastic. Welcome, April, and welcome everybody who's tuning in from all around the globe today. All right, so Fiona, I would love to just give a little bit of background about you and how we came to be. And you and I are partners now, but you are the CEO and the founder of Young Mums Support Network, which is a fantastic organization in London. And tell a little bit about what you do there and how and why you created that.
Okay, so thank you, Rhonda. So Young Mum Support Network is a community interest company. So you guys would reference that as a non-profit. We
Mhm.
provide support programs, bespoke programs for mums across London, ranging from financial advice, supporting mums with mental health and well-being. We support mums with cooking, those that
Mhm.
want to get back into work, those that just need some strategies and tips around managing children's behavior. As you know, Rhonda, these children do not come with manuals
No, they
or,
do not.
or guides. We literally are just trying to help each other. And what we've designed is a very, very unique parenting package for mums who are quite isolated and just need a network, because everybody, I always say to people that we need our support networks, especially when raising children. I'm a mother of two. I've got a 17-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Mhm.
And it comes with its challenges, it comes with its highs and lows, and there is such a need for support. So we've designed a range of programs. A lot of our services are very much led by the mum. So it could be housing issues, it could be stuff around domestic violence, it could be stuff just wanting to have access to other mums, to just be able to have high level mum conversations, even if it's just to compare and say, is your child doing your head in just like mine's? You know, it's
Mhm.
okay sometimes for us as mums who are juggling a range of different things to
Mhm.
just be able to speak to another mother and just say, look, this is what I've got going on. So we've provided that. We often use, like, over here we have what's called children centers and family
Mhm.
centers. So a lot of our programs are based there because they have all of the facilities, from kitchens to outdoor spaces
Nice.
to safe areas for children to play in. And
Mhm.
what's beautiful about when you see mums coming together is the connections that are made. You know, we
Right.
do creative programs. So we've got a sewing program going.
Mhm.
We've recently done a beautiful arts program where these mothers created out of like recyclable
Mhm.
material animal heads. Like
Oh,
when
wow.
we started that program, we had a facilitator who, her organization is called Arts Against Abuse. She's done
Mhm.
some amazing work, lady named Imogen. And when I
Mhm.
remember when we started the program, Rhonda, I was thinking, how are these plastics and rubbish really going to turn into something? But
Mhm.
what produced at the end was just phenomenal. And these mums, the first time that they've actually done like creative programs. So we just allow mums to really express, to feel free to in a safe space, to
Mhm.
network, connect with other mums.
That's fantastic. And your organization is so wonderful, and it's so profound, the work that you're doing over there. Because one thing that I found very unique, and the reason that I was so honored to partner with you with that, is because in London now, everybody, well, even here,
Yeah.
if you are a single mom, there's sometimes that's a badge of honor, sometimes it's not. But
Mm.
in London, the way you are treated if you are a young mother who is not wed is disgraceful. And talk about that a little bit, because there's a certain terminology for that that adds a stigma that people may not be aware of over here.
Yeah, there is a massive stigma. I think single mothers on a whole, you
Hmm.
know, there is this kind of, if you don't have a husband and if you're not married and if you're
Hmm.
not kind of living your best life, what social
Hmm.
media showcases us, that
Right.
that's how the perfect world looks when you are raising children alone. And, you know, kind of layered onto being a single mother, oftentimes you think about a young mum who depends on what their start has been. We work with mothers who have come out the care system. Some of
Hmm.
them haven't been parented or nurtured early in their kind of like younger years. So a lot of them are either looking for somebody to love, or they're
Hmm.
falling into relationships that are a bit
Hmm.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
The byproduct is a child. And society will deem them as like, oh my gosh, you've fallen pregnant and, you know, the world and your life has ended now. When no, it's
Hmm.
not. A lot of time these mothers just need even just coaching and mentoring and
Hmm.
somebody to
Yeah.
say, you know what, you will be all right. This child
Yeah.
will grow, you can nurture, have
Excuse me.
the abilities, you have the skills, because sometimes it's like the responsibilities that come with, as you know,
Hmm.
raising children, especially first time
Oh
mums
yeah.
and mums, you don't know what to expect. And if
Mhm.
everybody has, you know, kind of already put a negative association to being a young mum,
Mhm.
then it can make that burden feel
Right.
extremely heavy.
Yeah. And society actually over there, the society actually um categorizes them differently and treats them differently,
Yeah,
and
differently,
yeah.
definitely. And it's quite hard because, you know,
Mhm.
it depends on where you're starting. If you're not in like secure accommodation and you
Right.
haven't found your feet, or you still might still be in school and you've
Right.
fallen pregnant, and then all
Yeah.
of the stigma that comes alongside of that and managing all that peer pressure, there's a lot of stress that can come with being a young mum, especially teenage mothers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've got 5 children. They're adults now, and you know that. And there, you and I have had many conversations because all of mine are adults. And you and
Yeah.
I have talked several times. And you're like, Rhonda, I don't know what to do. I'm like, it's gonna be okay. I promise you. This is exactly what's happening. I can tell you what's gonna happen next, or
That's
give you
right.
an idea. And that's one of the benefits of women working together and supporting each other and collectively collaborating, because um, you know, we can learn from each other, from one's experience, and it doesn't matter what your age is, it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. As women, we share a common bond that we're all women, which is
That's
what I love about Women's Month, and especially today, International Women's Day, because it celebrates just being a woman, and and everything that comes with that. So there is no specific group. It's we're all connected just because we're women. And a lot of times we forget that, we because women are brought up, it took me a long time to have good relationships with women. I'm gonna be honest. Growing up, I did not have a lot of girlfriends, or so I thought. Now I find out, years later, how your high school friends look you up on Facebook. And I've had so many people say, Rhonda, I used to look up to you in school. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
When? Because I didn't know that.
So true. And it's funny you say that, because even like the forum I was just on just before joining here, we were talking about that. And I think sometimes it is that kind of not knowing how to even interact with other women. And these are the things that when we really think about, female empowerment and women lifting up women, and us really kind of cheerleading, like when you win, we win. Everybody wants to win. And I think it's important to recognize sometimes it's those little voices in our head that tell us those lies. Sometimes we're still discovering ourselves, we're still trying to find ourselves, when we will have our own, like, hookups about things that don't even exist at times, but it's just sometimes it's the way the mind works. So I think I still think we've got a long way to go, if I'm to be honest. I don't think we're all there, but there seems to be a massive, massive movement of really women wanting to celebrate, uplift and empower other women. And that's fundamentally important.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There's like this sisterhood movement going on right now. And there's less competition. I'm not going to say the competition is gone, but we're now beginning to accept our bodies and not try to look like every other video girl that doesn't exist anyway, or that was surgically made. We're celebrating our rolls, our lumps, our bumps, our stretch marks, and it's okay, and we're starting to, I believe, as a sisterhood, recognize the beauty and the expertise in another woman, where before it wasn't really okay to say you're beautiful today, and we're being able to celebrate another woman without fear of you're going to take my spot, or you're going to, because what's for you is for you, what's for you is for you. And I'm now in this stage of life, I'm able to celebrate women. I'm able to see that, we're stronger together than apart. I'm able to see that, the gifts and talents that you, my dear friend, you have blessed me so much. I have grown exponentially since my life and has interacted and crossed paths with yours. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for my other friend, Sasha, who introduced us. And then she is finishing out the month. So how perfect is that? But because she introduced us on a speaking engagement, you and I connected. So it was the networking. It was one woman reaching out to another woman to connect to like-minded women. And we've been nonstop ever since.
That's right. And that's what it's about. The beauty of it is when you do kind of find your tribe, as what that new term is. It's like people, I think we kind of gravitate to our kind, and it's so important that we recognize that. Because I'll just share this with you. On the weekend, I was out with one of my friends. It was an amazing event, and this lady came up to me, Rhonda, and she was just really lovely. She said, "Oh my gosh, you're just so beautiful. I love your vibe. I love your energy." There was absolutely nothing attached to it. It was just the way she came, so genuine and just so authentic. And I just said, thank you. Sometimes we find it hard to receive compliments and stuff like that, or even give them out. And it's important when people are so open to say, do you know what? I really like your shoes, or your hair looks good, or you know what, that outfit you're wearing really suits you. It's important for us to be able to express that. And now we're moving, as you rightly said, into that space where we are becoming accepting of, our flaws and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
not so much kind of being so critique. There are some that, they will follow
Right.
the influencers that are going and doing all these surgical things. But I think us as women who really want to kind of promote, actually, it's what is in the inside. And I think
Mhm.
what's in the inside radiates on
Yeah.
the outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's a great place. I know we got to take our first commercial break here shortly. So we're going to take a real fast break and get some commercials out there, some sponsor information, and we're going to be right back. We're going to pick up this conversation. We're talking with Fiona Small, live from London.
Have you subscribed yet to the free bi-monthly digital interactive Ego magazine? No? Well, head on over to www.egoentertainmentnet.com to subscribe now. This magazine is all about supporting and showcasing excellence in communities everywhere, from music, arts and culture, relationships, education, politics, celebrities, food, and so much more. While you're flipping through the pages, just click on the buttons and social icons and you'll be taken to a whole other world behind the articles and ads. At Ego Entertainment, everyone is a star. There is something in it for everyone. And we hope you are positively impacted by what you see and will continue to support Ego Magazine. Track CBPD by Arulo. Hey, it's your girl, Lady J, and this is a special public service announcement. The Gallery Event Center of Indianapolis, Indiana is now an official partner. If you are a client of mine and you are in need of a venue to book your next event, then book with the Gallery Event Center today, who offers all-inclusive packages at extremely affordable prices. But wait, there's more. You are able to book custom all-inclusive packages that have been tailored exclusively for Lady J's clients. And yes, that includes the Ego Entertainment Network clients too. Connect with me today at ladyj.co to receive your promo code and visit the Gallery Event Center located at 5852 East 82nd Street or call 317-534-6399 and visit their website at thegalleryeventcenter.com. This has been a special public service announcement by Lady J. Love y'all. Deuces.
Hey there. If you can hear my voice, this is Pamela, host of Hospitality, here to remind you that Ego Entertainment Network has a lot for your business. Listen, honey, you need to get with it. Ego Entertainment offers various services, media coverage, red carpet services, promo interviews on air. They offer meet and greet services, honey, not to mention other event services. You want to get in gear. Ego Entertainment is empowered greatness optimized. We're now booking and spots are going fast. Ego serves the United States and all event types, honey. So if you are opening a business, having a store opening, a restaurant opening, and you want some coverage, Ego Entertainment is the way to go. Call or text 317-886-0296 or go to egoentertainmentnet.com.
And we are back. Thank you for our commercials. And I've got to also just go ahead and say a promo for my sponsor, Robert Delitis, erptherapy.com. He is a certified alcohol and drug counselor, mental health professional, and he is one of our premier sponsors of Me Powered with Radio. And he's the co-author of Kill the Craving, which is his version of ERP therapy for substance abuse. So we are back with Fiona Small, live from London on International Women's Day. And we're just getting acquainted a little bit with, the theme and women in general. Now, I do want to just touch on, before we get into actually talking about the whole theme, you also were recently awarded, well, you've got several awards, business awards and stuff, but over there with the British Network and everything, it just just share with us some of the recent awards you've gotten as a businesswoman and what you've been doing, because you speak all over and you are like a mogul with everything that you do, and you're an author, and you just do so many things. You wear so many hats. It's incredible.
Thank you. So I recently was nominated for the Mother of Magnificent Awards. Last year was the Wise 100 Women in Enterprise Award, which was through NatWest, which is a bank over here. We've won community awards as well. I also, it's interesting because as you know, I recently co-authored a book, Effective
Mhm.
Ways of How to Improve the Single Parent Experience. And a lot of the content from the book was based off of personal lived experiences. And that's also recently been put forward for award as well, because you know, what I'm finding is that people want solutions, especially mums. Mums are looking for hacks. They're
Mhm.
looking for coping strategies. They're looking
Mhm.
for people to really kind of share and open up, not just kind of share the pain, but also
Right.
how have you navigated your way through? How else can they cope? So that's also one that's coming up as well. And, you know, one of the things with awards, they're great for, I would say, you know, profile and leverage, but when I entered into kind of this space that I'm operating in, Rhonda, if I'm to be totally honest with you, it was not about kind of the awards and the accolades. It was
Right.
really, like I always tell people, it came from a place of pain. It came from a
Mhm.
place of lived
Yeah.
experience. And I really was like focused and determined to try and help other mothers. And I
Mhm.
always say this as well, what I created was something that I needed myself.
Yes. And that's pretty much what I've done as well. And they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And when we go through things and we don't have that support,
Yeah.
a lot of times, the pain that we go through is our platform for something greater later,
Absolutely.
because you're blessed to get through it and get on the other side. But you
Yeah.
can't forget where you came from. And I
Never.
never forgot where I came from. And just like I can tell you certain things about kids that I've already dealt with, and different things that you have not yet experienced. All the different things that we go through, we come through them, and we go through them so we can go back and
Yeah.
pull somebody else out.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, as hard as it was when we were going through it, like, I thought I was going to lose my mind so many times, Fiona. So many times I thought I was doing such a terrible job. I thought it was a total mess up, total failure.
Mm.
And now looking back at it,
Mm.
those were the times I was stronger than I thought. I was more resilient than I thought. And I made a way because I had to. And now I can tell another person, because when we're going through those things that we're
Mm.
not strong, you coming out on the other side shows how strong you actually are. And here's the thing, the next woman or the next person that's coming through it, they may not be that strong. They may not be able to face that, because you never know the state
What?
somebody is in when you meet them. You never know how close on the edge they are, and they may give up, or they may take something, or they may call it quits, or they may do something to harm themselves or somebody else. So you're actually stronger than you think. So we go through all those things so that we can go back and pull somebody else through, now that we have the blueprint of just a few things that worked for us. We're not saying I have the end all be all,
Yeah,
but
true.
this is what worked for me in that time. And it could be anything. Like, I had a conversation with my daughter the other day, and I hope she doesn't get mad when I say this, but she was having how can I put this nicely? A pest problem in her house, which we all have had, at different times in our lives. We've
Yeah.
all had dive apartments or dive houses. And no matter what you do, if you're connected to somebody, you get visitors from your neighbor and stuff like that. And she's like, Mom, I can't get rid of these. I'm calling. She's like, what did you do? Because I don't remember that growing up. And I told my daughter, I said, this is what I did, because I couldn't afford pest control, right? So what I did, I came up with a hack. I got this great idea one day. The caulking guns that you like caulk up a bathtub with, how you
Yes,
put
yes,
the eggs.
yes,
So
yes.
I
Yeah.
saw a caulking gun at the Dollar Tree. I was like, oh, that's it. That's what I can do. So what I did is I got a caulking gun with the caulk, And anywhere that I saw pests coming in as I was bringing up my kids, I just simply filled it up so they couldn't pass through the barrier, and I never had to pay for pest control. And it was like something like that that you do out of necessity. You don't think it would help somebody else, but it really, she's like, oh my God, mom,
Yeah,
that's genius. I was like,
brilliant. I mean,
do
you
what you
just had
gotta
to
do.
be, you know what, I'm tired of this. And you know what, as well, we are more resourceful and
Mhm.
solution orientated than we actually give ourselves credit
Oh
for.
yeah.
And it's more important to recognize that, you know, when people are going through stuff. So I had a call this morning from a mum. She was in tears, Rhonda, absolute
Mhm.
tears. She's living in overcrowded accommodation with her, she's got 3 boys,
Okay.
and she's had to give up her bedroom. She's sharing with her
Mhm.
younger one in the bedroom. They don't have space. And, you know, her mental health right now is not doing, and she said, I'm tired of being the strong one. I'm tired of people looking at me for
Mhm.
everything. She goes, I am struggling. And she said, you know what was really touching, because she's got a middle one who's a teenager, and she's really concerned about, you know, raising 3 black boys in inner city London.
Mhm.
The younger one, she said, because he doesn't have his own space, she said he's been going in the bathroom to play,
Mhm.
just to have somewhere for
Mhm.
him to be, just a
Yeah.
quiet space. She
Yeah.
said he's been biting his skin, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Quite anxious and stuff like that. And I really encouraged her, and I said, look, because we also support mums with housing. We provide like
Mhm.
advocacy letters, we
Right.
write to counsellors. We've been really, because housing, especially during lockdown, you see, during
Mhm.
lockdown, in the height of the pandemic,
Oh yeah.
the inquiries that were coming through the
Mhm.
website for mums that were saying, look, I cannot cope.
Yeah.
A lot of them that had to be doing the homeschooling, they didn't have
Mhm.
access to, you know, many devices or tablets and laptops. They
Mhm.
were like, I'm not a teacher. I don't
Right.
know how my child's teacher teaches my child. I don't understand this. Like, I need some help. So we
Mhm.
created like real great forums. I mean, Clubhouse at the time was like a great platform for us to
Mhm.
really connect with mothers across the globe. There's times when we had like over 300 mums in a room, and they were just
Wow.
talking about stuff,
Yeah.
lockdown. I needed
Yeah.
adult conversation. I just need to get
Right.
away from my kids. And I'm
Yeah.
saying this to say that, and even the hacks, so bringing it back to what you've just shared, the amount of things that people were able to share, and even that mum I
Mhm.
just mentioned who called this morning, you know, I was really able to encourage her and just say, look, this is just a season and a period of your life. You
Mhm.
are not, she said, she said, keeps saying that she feels like a failure. She feels like she's
Mhm.
let her kids down. You know,
Mhm.
she doesn't want to be living like this. And it just really made me think that, you know what, when you do feel like sometimes you've got your own stuff going on, just remember that there is somebody out there going
Mhm.
through a whole host of things. And we've
Mhm.
all got something to share under. We've all
Oh yeah.
got something to impart, whether it's just a word of encouragement, whether it's a hack like
Mhm.
you just shared to kind of get rid of uninvited, you know,
Right.
whether it's just trying to just say, look, it
Mhm.
will be okay, you
Mhm.
know, it's
Yeah.
going to be okay.
Yeah, and it just the presence, the aspect of presence of having another person present that is going to listen to you, because I remember so many times the
Mm,
walls closing in, and yeah, you can't breathe. And especially now with the last 2 years with the pandemic, they everybody's been under so much more pressure and stress that yeah, it's been a lot harder than normal.
yeah,
So it's
and
good
it's
when we
the
can come
icing.
together.
Yeah, it's just the icing on the
Yeah.
cake when you think about it. Wonder, we
Mhm.
haven't even seen the true effects
Oh,
of
no.
this pandemic. We've had babies that were born during the height of pandemic. The only people they saw was
Yeah,
their household. Coming outside into the real world was like, oh my
right.
gosh, there's more people than who
Yeah.
I know in my
Yep.
own home. There's babies like literally are so frightened of faces, and you know,
Mhm.
the anxiety that's
Right.
really been created. So there's a lot of work to do, and this is why support is really required. And if ever, you know, our organization has become relevant,
Mhm.
none of us could have foreseen COVID coming.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
now, you know, it's definitely
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just creating that network, with other women and other resources. And if I don't have something, I know you have something, and I've got women and friends all over the country. So it's amazing to know that when you support these organizations, or you just give of your time, or you just give a word of encouragement, or you speak, that you're affecting women across the entire country. That was the thing with last year when I saw, when we did our summit, when we had all those women from different countries. The most beautiful thing was, do you remember, at the end, we realized that all of us from all different countries,
Mm.
speaking different languages, believing in different gods and worshiping different things, none of that mattered, because all of us, we hurt at the same level in our hearts, and we were all struggling with the same thing on some level, way, shape, or form. That's
Yeah.
what we had in common. And so we could put down all of our biases, we could put down all of our choices, and we celebrated each other, and nobody made anybody feel bad. We celebrated, and we allowed everybody to be who they were, 100% in what they were, and it was beautiful, and it just worked, and we need more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was even more funny, I remember when we had finished the we were online, obviously, on the StreamYard, and then everybody just kind of relaxed, and then we were,
Yep.
this is how I wanted you to be when we were on, like, why were you not doing it?
Yep, because everybody was prim and proper, and Charles was like, look, dog,
Like,
loosen up your bra. Yes.
like, we just let our hair down. You were like, no, this is how I wanted you. That's so funny. That was so hilarious.
And it's so true, because, and especially as women, don't we do that all the time? We play to appease people. We play to present, instead of just being like, you know what? My bra is bothering you. Y'all mind if I unhook this? It's like and it's just like you just go into this automatic thing, because we have been molded and shaped by society of what you have to be a lady, what you have to be respected, what you have to be taken seriously, to where we've got that, not front, but we've got that facade up, because we just go into automatic. But then when it was all over,
Everybody
that's when everybody truly connected, and those were the greatest pictures at the end of that. And we were making faces. Yeah.
So funny. It's interesting you say that, because even I was out with my sister on Saturday, and she was just like, look, I've got to take this waist trainer off, because it's digging me, and she just pulled it. It's still in my car at the moment. She forgot to take it out of my car. But you're right, there is this, I'm not sure what it is about that kind of, I wouldn't even call it conformity, I would call it that societal pressure, that
social
pressure
norm.
We're living in this selfie generation, we're living in this kind of filter generation, everything is good, nobody is truly wanting to kind of just showcase their raw authenticity. And when you do, you feel like you're going to be judged for it, when what people are actually looking for is authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah, I don't believe that we should kind of cover up and wear masks, because I think when you do that, you will be exposed, because there's only so much you can wear a mask. There's only so much you can pretend, and you'll expose yourself. That mask will have to come off at some point. And you will expose yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. Robert just checked in and said, nice job, ladies. My sponsor, Robert Delitis. And so we'll say hello to Robert Delitis. And thank you for watching. But yeah, I totally agree with that. Now let's shift real quick, because we're already, you know how quickly our time always goes when we get together and talk. So let's talk about the theme of International Women's History Today, and why it's important to discuss breaking the bias. Because yes, the gentleman who made the comment about more men are killed in wars, well, I would beg to we could get into a whole discussion, because the number of women killed in domestic violence surpasses wars. So we're not going to cut hairs there, but the essence of what we're talking about is, as women, okay, Fiona, you are a very successful businesswoman, business owner, corporate guru, speaker, leader, teacher, author. You're on the British Network TV, but yet, are you paid the same as say Dr. Solomon, to do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? It's like, I think the stats show that there's in the pay gap, it's
Mm-hmm.
women are paid, is it 34% less? I mean, it's huge. And there
Still
is still
today.
a long way to go. And I think when we're looking at gender biases, one of the things that when I think about breaking the bias, I also believe that we need to bring it home a bit as well, because I had to shine the light on my own self and think, why am I always so I've got obviously a son and a daughter, and I'm like, why
Mhm.
am I always telling my daughter to be the one to, put the clothes away,
Yep.
wash up the dishes, hoover up the floor, peel the
Mhm.
potatoes, whatever it is. And I've my son, which we often do as mothers, the boys can kind of get away with a lot. So even when we're thinking
Mhm.
about the gender biases, let's not even start with the workplace first, because we got to look and put the reflection on ourselves in
Yeah.
how are we even dealing with it in our own homes. Are we getting the girls to do majority of the chores and the households and the domesticated stuff,
Mhm.
and our boys, what are they doing? Are they putting their feet up? So down the line, when they kind of enter into relationships and meet a young lady, I said this on the forum
Mhm.
before, is I don't want when my son decides to fly the nest and then his lady says to him, your mum really spoilt you. I want him to know how to put the darks with the darks and the whites with the whites and the colors with the colors, and
Yeah.
wash up and put things away,
Mhm.
not wait for somebody to be waited on. And I think if
Right.
we look at the biases, we have to reflect it on ourselves. And this isn't our fault. This is something when we think about what the storybooks told us, but they
Mhm.
when you think about the fairy tales, all
Yeah.
of us as little girls, we really believed in the prince. We kissed a few frogs and realized they
Right.
haven't
We
changed.
were
They're still
conditioned to
frogs.
be rescued. Yeah, we were conditioned to wait for our prince, our
Absolutely.
knight in shining armor. We had to be pretty and sweet. And you're
Yeah.
exactly right. And we do have to start at home, because
Yeah.
I've got boys and girls. And one
Hmm.
thing that I definitely did, and I'm not going to say I got it right 100% of the time, because I did not,
Yeah.
but I did make an effort to teach everybody how to cook, to teach
Good.
everybody how to change the oil in their car. And in my situation, when I got divorced, their father wasn't there. So my boys were going into sports. I was the one showing them how to throw a football. I was the one taking them to camp, and I'm not to camp, to practice and stuff. And I didn't know what to do, but I did know to get them connected to other men, because I couldn't. There were certain things I could not teach them that I wanted to make sure that they had. But I've got to honestly say that, yeah, I did have a little bit of a bias myself too.
Yeah.
And that comes from social norms and cultural norms and religious norms. And you don't want to go against your family and everything. And like, I've got a grandson right now who loves to cook, and he's just wonderful. He loves to cook. He plays tennis. He does all this, and who's to say that's not masculine, and it's so we have to get away from those
Yeah.
titles. And they could wear, I mean, whatever they want to wear, but they have to decide, they got to define who they are. Because I did finally learn with my children to say, hey, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to show you the things that I believe are right and wrong, but this is your life, and you're meant to live it on your terms. So whatever you decide to do, I'm supportive. I don't care if you're straight, gay, bi, transgender, cisgender. I don't care. Whatever makes you, I don't care what you believe or whatever, you're my child, and I'm going to love you. There's nothing you could ever do that I'm ever going to stop loving you, and I will never throw you away. I will never give up on you, because you are a gift to me. And so a lot of times I try to force my kids to do a certain thing my way, and
Yeah.
it never worked. And then when I finally stepped back and I was like, okay, let me find out what their strengths are. Let me find out what their likes are, because each one is created for something specific that has nothing to do with me. They all have their own gifts. They all have their own talents. They all have their own destinies. They all have different personalities and different things to do in this world. And I cannot say to any of them, you can't do this, or this would be better for you to do this. They have to figure that out and find that journey on their own.
Yeah, they're on their own path. And it's funny because one of our young mums that was at a session last week, she was actually sharing that she bought her little boy a kitchen. And the dad was like, "Why have you bought him a kitchen?" And she's like, "Because there's a kitchen in everyone's house and he's going to have to learn how to get," and he wanted one. I remember even one of my friends, like, toddlers, they're so, especially boys, when, because obviously we buy the girls the buggies, don't we? We buy the girls the kitchen stuff and the aprons and all of the princess dresses. And my friend's son wanted a buggy, and he just really is. He obviously he loves footballs and all that. He's very a boy, but he wanted a buggy, so his mum bought him a buggy and a baby,
Okay.
and he loved his buggy and his baby.
Right. All right. And that's good because it teaches them to care for children, which he's going to have someday, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So,
It teaches him nurture. But, I think those biases, I think we also, we will champion, workplace this and equality and, gender pay gap and all of this stuff. But we've got a big gender gap in our own homes. We've got the girls doing the majority of the chores and all of that. We got to balance this thing out. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to be really saying, actually break the bias, then it comes from, and at the end of the day, you've got to realize that these are things that take time. These are structures that have been put into place. These are concepts. These are things that has been instilled and entrenched. And I'm sure when we all were growing up, who was the majority of the ones in the kitchen? Who were the ones that were laying the table and setting? Where were the? There's 3 of us. My brother sits in the middle. I'm the eldest, and then my younger sister. Even Sundays, dinner at mum's, it will be me and my sister and my mum in the kitchen. Then my brother will just rock up and come and sit down. It's like, admittedly, he does wash up and he's very domesticated, but I would say that, is there a balance? Are we breaking the biases there? What is that also showcasing to the children when they observe and see that and see, oh, well, people just, and even I was mentioning earlier that for us who are the heads of our households and we have children that we're raising, there isn't a balance because there isn't a male in the home. So you are the head of the home.
You're forced to wear both hats. Mother and father. Yep.
And it's easy to think that, like this afternoon, it was a bright day. I didn't want my son on the device because I think, I'm trying to monitor screen time and just give him a break from just the game at times. It was a lovely afternoon. So I decided to take him and his friend to the park. He's got an e-scooter and they were riding around. They took the football. And then part of me was going to say, should I actually call my brother to say? And I thought, no, actually, Fiona, you can do it. I don't need to have. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we can get caught up on what's not there and is there a male balance and all of that stuff. And you just think to yourself, you've got to think about actually what is it within us that we can do? Because what's going on at the moment when we do look at the inequality and the gap between male and female, we've seen what's going on in the world. I always say this, that if we were seated at higher tables around the world leaders, I know there'd be a nice little balance going on, and a lot of the devastation and stuff that we're hearing about, I believe that we would have found a better way of finding solutions to the ones that they have decided to create.
Yeah, I would agree. And, and we're not saying that because going back to that one comment, that was given about just the theme tonight. We're not saying that, women want to be able to do every single thing exactly the same as a man does, or that we're physically as strong. We're not saying that because I myself, I believe in roles. I believe in, but I don't believe in gender specified roles. Like whoever is better at the checking account should be in charge of the checking account. Whoever is the better cook should be cooking. Whoever, so it's not based on gender, but I do believe we need to take specific roles and we work together. We're not saying that when we say break the bias and, gender equality, like we want to be able to do every single thing that a man does exactly the same way. No, we're not talking about that. And that's where people, they're very closed-minded and they're very narrow-minded when they say things like that, because it's so much bigger than that. It's like exactly what you said. It goes into our own homes. How are we what are the preconceived notions that we have from society, the societal norms that we are instilling, that we have never questioned, that we just took as automatic because that's how we were raised and we never challenged it. And yet our children are having different interests or different things that don't fit the societal norm. Well, how do we support this now? And does that mean there's something wrong with them? No, absolutely not. There is nothing wrong with your child. There's not, whatever they want to do, whoever they want to be, whoever they want to identify as, cool. It has nothing to do with you. And I think a lot of times we make the mistake as parents, especially mother. Well, I'm not going to say especially mother. Let me retract that. As parents, a lot of times, if our children go a certain way, if we really want to get down to the truth of it, because I say this to my clients all the time. I had a client come in and she was all upset that her daughter was, transgender and wanted to switch. And I'm like, why are you upset? She's like, well, because, and she was giving me all these reasons. She's like, well, she doesn't even want me to call her my little girl anymore. She's like, I can't even refer to her as she. I said, no, you need to say they. And she's like, but I don't understand that. And I said, well, the terminology is correct. I said, just ask your daughter what she prefers. I said, because at the end of the day, and I asked her specifically, I said, how much of this has to do with you and how you look as a parent? Are you now interpreting this that you have failed as a parent, or that this is somehow a reflection of your parenting? Because if that's the case, then your views are 100% selfish. They're not even around your daughter and supporting her the best way for however she wants to be.
Yeah, I think for people who, that's their reality, I will kind of not comment on that, just because I believe that, we are born how we're born. And I do believe that, we are living in a society where it's going to get extremely confusing. It already is. And I'm not sure like how far you can take things. And I think that's where I'll leave.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But the whole point was making it about her, not about her daughter. That was the thing that I had to show her. And and I was like, remove you out of the situation. Let's focus on your daughter. What would be the best way you could support your daughter?
But you're calling her a daughter, but you've just told the mother not to identify as a daughter. So you how does she identify then? So just see the confusion. I mean, you're referring to her, but she doesn't want to be referred to as a daughter. So that's what I'm saying. We're living in a time where you're going to be able to, you can't, even when you're filling out forms. I mean, what's your passport going to look like? Your documentation, like, where are we going with this?
It can get very, deep.
Where are we going?
It can get very big and broad. You're absolutely correct.
Where are we going? And I just think we confused enough.
Right. You are absolutely right. But, just on the topic that we're, discussing about breaking the biases, I believe we've brought up some great thoughts of reflection today, to how are we contributing to the biases in our own home. I think that's critical, Fiona. And I think that's a great way, because, rather than looking outward now, and then you can go further into the workplace, communities, and all of this stuff. But what are we doing in our own homes? Because it starts at home. And then once you get that together, and then you're going out to the workplace. I mean, it is true. I mean, women are paid less. Okay. A lot of times, but there's a lot of companies that are, starting to promote women a lot more, put a lot more women in upper management. And that's changing, which is great. So there's a lot of things that are happening that are wonderful, but we do still have a long way to go. Absolutely. And, so I've really enjoyed talking. I think we got to take another break. I think we got to take another commercial break. And then when we come back, we'll get how do people follow you and contact you on social media. And we'll no, we're not taking a break. Okay, never mind. We're not taking another break. All right, so let's just keep it moving. Okay, wonderful thing about live TV. All right, so Fiona, how do people follow you on social media?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Fiona Smalls. You can follow me on Facebook. It's Fiona Small. My website is www.fionasmall.co.uk. The Young Mum Support Network is ymsn.co.uk. That's Young Mum Support Network, all abbreviated. And if you Google me, I hate saying that, but if you Google me, a lot comes up and you'll find me. I'm findable and reachable. But on the note of where, I know, right? No, but for being such a vocal person. And do you know what I was going to say with regards to even where we're at pay wise? You know, we as women now are becoming so innovative and creative, and with technology at our fingertips, we've got so much accessibility. And there was a lady actually on the forum I was on just before, and she's got like 3 businesses, she's got her job, she's got 3 children, you know, like you're listening to her, and then she says that people always say to her, like, you know, how do you do it? She actually said that she decided what she wanted her salary to look like, what she wanted to kind of bring to the world. And I think what we've also got to recognize, because sometimes it because of how society have got, you know, remember, mums were the ones, or women were the ones to be at home and to take maternity leave and look after the children, and the men would go out to work. But then if you are in a position where it is you raising your children and you do want a quality of life and you do want to do stuff, I really want to encourage women to kind of, in terms of breaking your own biases and thinking, actually, I need, because I haven't got a man or I haven't got a husband, I'm not able to do it. Like, exactly. Create that path, blaze your own trail, and just get things done, because we can do it. We really can do it. Connect with people who are like-minded, start going to networking events, start building that business, writing that business plan, finding investors, pitching to yourself, you know, practice in the mirror. Because do you know something? I really believe that the times that we're living in now, like, would you believe what, last week there's a guy that I used to actually go to school with, he's just signed €1 billion deal.
Wow, that's wonderful.
To say that I went to school with somebody who's now a billionaire, not a millionaire, a billionaire.
That's
like,
wonderful.
That's big.
That's wonderful. And we can do that. We can create our own destiny. Thank you so much, Fiona. I know we got to wrap up right now, but you know, just winding down with exactly what you said, you know, we are in a great position right now, the best position of our lives, where instead of thinking about, well, hey, you can focus on, I always say perspective is everything. You can focus on, well, I don't get paid as much, or you can create your own destiny. You can create your own pathway. You've done it. I'm doing it. And, you know, I've got speaking engagements coming up in August. We have the Re-Up conference coming up in Indianapolis, which we'll be at with Lady J. And I've got a workbook that's coming out that's going to be released soon. And then May 7th, I'm having my very first event the day before Mother's Day. Actually, I'm going to have a flyer coming out soon, which is going to be a brunch, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be wonderful. So you guys are going to be hearing about that, you know, as well. But I want to speak to that woman real fast that thinks that, you know, the walls are closing in and thinks that there's no way to go and you can't create anything. Let me just let you know, you are stronger than you think. You're braver than you know. And everything you need is already inside of you. You got it in you. You just got to get it out of you. And once you dig your heels in and start, wonderful things happen. You got this, girl. You're beautiful. We celebrate you. Happy International Women's Day. Next week, we have Virginia Hodges. She's an international businesswoman. She's got a business in Italy. Oh my God, I can't wait. So thank you, Fiona, for being my guest tonight. Away from London. Everybody, make sure you share this. If you want to be a guest on the show, send an email to mepoweredwithrhonda@gmail.com. Have a great night, everybody.